Hi everyone, welcome back to Excel School. In today's lesson, we are going to talk about Excel text formulas. Now this is not going to be a lengthy lesson. This is a very quick lesson and we will focus on discussing these formulas that are shown on the screen and play with some of this data here so that we can be comfortable using these text formulas and you can apply them whenever you get a chance in life. Okay, before even jumping into these formulas, let's just understand what text formulas are for and why they should be used. Text formulas are your way of manipulating text in Excel. Either you want to find out how many characters are there in a text, or you want to combine two text values into one value, or you want to do something with the text value. So that is when you would use a text formula. These formulas are very straightforward, and the way they are told, for example left, right and mid, or len, or find, or search, the way they are told or the way they work are pretty much same compared with any other programming language or any other tool that would have similar functionality. So there is nothing new in Excel text formulas as such. Unlike if you look at Excel's value based formulas like VLOOKUP or sum product or sum if or count if, these formulas are pretty much Excel centric. You don't find them anywhere else, even in SQL or something like that. But text formulas are pretty standard, and they work more or less same way as they work in outside world. So that is what it is. The text formulas will help us to manipulate text and do some operations with it. The very basic text formulas are listed here. Of course, this is what Excel has to offer. Anything else you want to do depends on your creativity and your ability to combine formulas. So what we shall do is we will understand what each of these formulas do, and then play with some of this data. Okay, so let us get started. The first set of formulas that I have listed here are cutting formulas. I don't know what to call them, so I just choose to call them as cut formulas. Essentially what these formulas do is they help us cut the text in any which way we want. Okay, so imagine you have a text as a wood block and you want to cut the leftmost portion of the text. You would use the left formula. You want to cut the rightmost portion of the block, you would use the right formula. And if you want to get something in the middle, you would use the middle formula. So for example, if you have a word like hello in cell G4 and you want to get the first three characters, this is what you would use. Left Z4 3. Now it will give the HEL, which is the first three characters in hello world. So if I change this hello to how are you, this will become how. So that is how it works. Okay, so I just undid that. And right formula works in the same way, except it returns the characters from right. So it returns LLO. Okay, so this is what the left and right formulas do. Mid formula is again self-explanatory. What it does is mid G4, and you can specify the start number, the number from which you want to fetch the characters, and then the number of characters. So if you say 22, it will if you say 22, it will give you EL, which is the second character and third character from the data in G4. So again, very straightforward formula, nothing very fancy here. So let us play a bit more with these formulas by understanding how you can combine these formulas with other formulas to do something even more fun. So let us say you have a file name in a cell like first month .xls, second. You have file names in a column like this. So file name, and you wanted to fetch the extension of that file. The .xls is the extension that tells us the type of the file that is in a separate column. Now how would you do that? of course, one easy way to fetch the extension is the last 3 characters in the file name. In this case it might work, but in some cases it may not work. For example, there is a third month file which was created in Excel 2007. So it goes like this: third month.xlsx. Now our last 3 characters rule is broken because it will not work for this third month. So what do we do now? Another easy way to look at this problem is like this: anything that follows the dot is extension. I think that is a reasonable assumption to make, because as soon as you have a dot in the file name, anything after that can be an extension. But again, it might break. For example, if you have a crazy naming convention, you can create a file like this in Windows as well, which is something like abc.tef.xls. It's still accepted. So now our assumption that anything follows dot is wrong. So the assumption has to be anything that follows the last dot in the sentence in that cell is extension. But let us keep it simple with these things, that anything follows the dot is extension, and there is only one dot in the file name. So given that, how do you write a formula to get the extension of the file name? This is how I would write it. Of course, you can figure it out on your own. So if you feel adventurous, pause the lesson and go ahead and write the formula and then come back and verify. But otherwise, if you are unable to proceed, or if you want to know how this works, then just follow me. This is how I would write. What I would do is, let me just write it first, and I will explain it to you. Sorry, that was I5. Okay, yeah. So this is what I would do. I would use a mid formula combined with the find formula, and what I'm telling Excel is fetch me the middle portion of this text, I5, starting with the find dot I5. What does that mean? That means that it will tell you the position of the dot in the cell I5. So I accidentally typed L5 there, that's why we had an error earlier. So tell me the position of the dot in I5, and I'm adding 1 to that because otherwise I will get .xls. I just want the xls portion, so I'm just using, and then I'm specifying a dummy number like 99 because I just want all the characters after that. So I don't know how many characters are there, so I just gave a random number, like a large number like 99, because there are usually 3 or 4 characters, but if I give a 99, then it will give me everything after the dot, provided there are not more than 99 characters. So this is how it works, and if you drag it down, you can clearly see that it works for the 4-letter extensions as well. So this is a fairly simple formula, and it works nice and without making it large or anything, but you can come up with anything else as well. So that is what these formulas do, and accidentally we learned the find formula as well. Search is similar, so I'm not going to talk about that. Let us talk about the manipulation formulas. Again, these are very, very simple formulas. Most of you would know what these formulas would do by now, because the names themselves are self-explanatory. The formula trim, what it does is it takes a text and it removes all the spaces in the beginning and the end and in between if there are anything more than one space. So let me show that with an example. Let us type some text like this. I'm giving some spaces, hello, and then one space, world, how. Then instead of giving one space, I'm giving couple of spaces, are you, and then in the end also I'm giving some spaces. So hello world, how are you, but then there are a lot of spaces here. You can clean all these things with this trim, and it just removes all the spaces from beginning and as well as in between. Anything that is more than one space is gone. So it cleaned up the text for you. if you look at the trim explanation, as you type removes, let me just do that here so you can read it properly. Trim, what it does is removes all spaces from a text except for single spaces between words. So it just trims the text. You can also use the formula clean, which removes all non-printable characters. So if you have any line breaks or anything crazy that is coming your way from an Excel report, you can use the clean formula to clean it up. So that's it. And let me just then the lower, upper and proper formulas are again straightforward. What they do is this one converts the text to lowercase, this one to uppercase, and this one to the proper case. Let me just explain what the proper case means. So let us convert this to proper case. Proper. Okay, so hello world, how are you? Each word is capitalized when you do a proper case conversion. You can notice that there is no formula to convert any text content in a cell into a sentence case. Sentence case is the first letter of the sentence is highlighted. Again, sentence casing is a complex problem because sentences can end in a full stop or a comma or something, and then it's a tricky problem because it's solvable, but it's a tricky problem. So there is no formula for that, but you can easily write your own formula, which is your homework incidentally. Then there is a formula called substitute, which will basically substitute one value with another in a text. So if you want to, for example, replace this question mark with something else, you could do that using the substitute. Let us do that. Let us replace all the H's in this particular sentence, hello world, how are you, all the letters H with Y, because we don't like H. So substitute, and this is the text, old text being H and new text being Y. Hello world, how are you? Okay, so this is how you can use the substitute formula. Again, you can do a lot of crazy things with the substitute formula if you get little creative. I'm leaving that to you because in most of the day-to-day problems you don't really have to play a lot with text formulas. You just want to manipulate your text and move on. But sometimes you may want to really push them hard to achieve a specific effect. But that's probably once every few months, so you can probably Google at that time instead of learning and keeping that in your mind, not using it. So again, replace is a similar formula with a different syntax. What replace does is it takes old text and then it uses the position, not the previous and new versions of the text. So for example, if you look at substitute, what we did was we gave the cell reference I10 and then we said H should be replaced with Y. Whereas replace works in a different way, in that if you write I10, you have to specify the start number, the position from which you want to replace the characters. So 3, from 3 I want to replace 4 characters with this new text, hello. Sorry, it's 110, it's I10. Okay. So from third character, which is LLO space, all this LLO, all these 3 characters were taken, all the 4 characters were taken, that is LLO space, and then they were replaced with hey, hello world, how are you. So this is how the replace formula works. It uses position instead of characters or text to replace. Then there is a almost useless formula called as concatenate. What it does is it adds up 2 pieces of text. So you can use concatenate and hello world, and it becomes like that. Incidentally, you could shorten this formula with this thing, hello, and then use the ampersand operator. It produces the same result. So there is really no use for someone to use the concatenate formula unless they want to type in a really long formula and make it look complicated. Okay, the last formula in the manipulate section that I want to talk about is the rept formula. I guess we have talked about rept formula in the charting lessons as well. You can use the rept formula to print up series of pipe symbols. the symbol that looks like this, pipe symbols, and create incel bar charts. What rept formula does is rept A20 will print the character A 20 times. Okay, so you could use the similar logic and a pipe, and then you will get a bar that goes 20 times. So if you align it left, it looks like that. It looks like a small bar chart. Of course, the fonting is a little tricky here, so if you change it to script or something and then make it 8 or 7, make it 7, then it looks like a small bar chart. Okay, so that is what we have learned in the charting week as well. I'm just going to remove that. We learned about find and search. The last ones that we have in this text formulas lesson are len, text, and value. The first formula, len, what it does is it tells you the length of a particular text. So for example, you can write len of hello, and that will be 5 characters. So if there is a space, it will be 6. If it's hello space 1, it will be 7. So it doesn't just measure the length of text, measure the whole thing. So even if there are some numbers, you get them as well. Now you could just use the length in some fun ways, like for example, I think, did we use length here? No, we didn't. You can use length to fetch the last 5 characters or middle 5 characters or something like that, because sometimes you may want to know the length of text as well when you are manipulating text. So you could use length and combine it with other formulas to create some kind of effect. Then the next one is the text formula. It might look a little fun, the formula itself being called text, but what it does is it is a very useful formula. Essentially, let us say you have a value like 23 in the cell and you wanted to print not 23, I think 23 is a lame value. Let us make it a little more fun. You have a value like 23456. This is the sales amount that we have generated. So sales 23456, and now you want to print the text that sales are 23456 in month June. This is the text that you want to generate. So you have month name here as June, and you have the value 23456 here. Now how would you write a formula that would generate a sentence like this? Very simple, right? Sales are space ampersand 3456 in the month of, so sales are 23456 in the month of June, and then your boss comes up to you and says, wow, that's beautiful, we made a lot of sales in June, but why the hell the 23456 is not in the accounting format? That is, it should be like this. Sorry, like that. Now you immediately formatted the cell 23456 to dollar format, but unfortunately the text itself is staying as 23456 because B20 itself, the value is 23456. It's not dollar 23456 comma 23 comma 456. That's the representation of it, but the underlying value is still 23456. So when this formula called for that, it is just giving that value. Now how would you fix that? You can use the text formula. What it does is it takes a value and it takes a format text. The format text in this case is dollar . So now we have a reasonably well formatted sales are $23,456 in the month of June. So this is what the text formula does. Text formula takes up an argument, a cell, and then formats it in the format string that you specify. The format can be anything, but you can use any of the formats that we have learned in the custom cell formatting lesson and format the values. I'm not going to go into the details of the formatting because you already know them, so let us leave it there. One last formula that I want to tell you is the value formula. What it does is converts a text string and represents the number to a number. So essentially, if you have let's say 23.234, and for some reason this was represented as text. Okay, so 23.1234 is there, but it was formatted as text. Now how would you extract the value out of it? You can use value and you will get the value of that piece of string. So this is what it is. It may not seem like a useful formula at this point, but some of you might be dealing with a problem like this. You are getting data for your reports and dashboards from an external environment. So you are getting a batch file or a CSV file every day morning, and for some reason the values that are imported are always coming in as text. So you could use the value formula to convert clean up the values and then convert them into numbers. So that is where the value formula comes into picture. I'm just going to clean up this sheet by removing all these things so that I can show you something else. So what we have here is, unfortunately I have deleted that, which is strange. Okay, glad we have it back. What I have here is I created a small play zone. The data is here, and I have given you 4-5 simple exercises. Essentially find the length of cell G4 and print all the characters of friends names in the one line and things like that. So go ahead and play with this file and then solve these simple problems so that you can understand the text formulas better. If you have any questions, feel free to ask me through the comments section so that I can help you understand the text formulas better. There are a lot of various nice things that we can do with text formulas. What we did in this lesson is introduce the formulas to you so that you can play with them at your own leisure and then find out what works for you. But I will provide some links to existing articles on chendu.org where there are a lot of text formula tricks and tips that were discussed. So I can provide those links, and you can use them if you are interested in exploring this particular topic further. I will see you in next lesson. Until then, you have a very good time. Thanks. Bye.